Question 2. Express 5x squared minus 20x plus 3 in the form p bracket x plus q squared plus r, where p, q and r are integers. So hopefully you will have spotted, and I think everyone did, that this is completing the square. So in terms of completing the square, you have to be very careful when there's a coefficient of x squared. So what we're going to do is take out the 5, but then make sure that we divide everything by 5, and a couple of people didn't do that with the last term, or maybe even the second one, so just be super careful. So 20 divided by 5 is 4, so it's minus 4x there, and then you've got 3/5 sitting on the end by itself like that, and now you can complete the square. So talking about consistency, leave the 5 outside the brackets there and then do everything inside the brackets. If you're going to use an equals, it's really important that you do that. So it's going to be half the coefficient of x, take away that value squared, and then add on the 3/5 at the end, as so you've got, again, that 5 and the bracket is just sitting out there waiting for you to be ready to use it, and then you're going to work all this out. So that's going to be 4 plus 3 over 5. You've got your calculator to help you do some of the fiddly calculations, but there's no need really to be reaching for it for this sort of thing. So what I would do with that, just grab another colour, that 4, you can turn it into a fraction over 5 by saying it's minus 20 over 5, it's minus 4. So minus 20 over 5 is minus 4. So if you use it like that, that's going to be minus 20 over 5 plus 3 over 5, which is minus 17 over 5. So at this stage, you've now completed the square inside the brackets, so now we can multiply the brackets out because that's what it wants us to do. So it's going to be 5 times the x minus 2 all squared, and then 5 times minus 17 over 5 is just minus 17. A few people messed up at that point there. So that's what you end up with. So in terms of marks, it's going to be looking for a mark for factorising the 5 out correctly. You're going to be looking at a mark for getting to this point here, where it's correctly completed, and then a mark for expanding out correctly at the end as well, and that's your 3 marks for part A. Part B says, state the coordinates of the minimum point of the curve 5x squared minus 20x plus 3. So it's the same function, but this time we're looking at it as a curve. Okay, so we've got the square has been completed already. We've got the answer to that up here. There's no need to do it again and waste our time. So we know, so what I'm going to do, it doesn't say hence anywhere interestingly, so it's expecting you to spot it. So I can write it like this instead. And the minimum point of the curve comes from the value inside here is your x value, but you change the sign of it because it's about a transformation of a graph. And then that point there stays the same sign. So this is the minimum point, the minimum coordinate of the curve. Okay, if they asked you for the minimum value, you give just the minus 17. Because I said minimum point, they want that, and they actually state it said coordinates as well. So in terms of where the marks come from, I think they're going to give you a mark for the correct value of x and a mark for the correct value of y. Part C. Part C, it says state the equation of the normal to the curve y equals 5x squared minus 20x plus 3. So same graph again at its minimum point. So I wouldn't even attempt to do this without drawing a sketch. So here's the sketch. We know what the minimum point of the curve is because we've worked it out in part B. Here it is. And it wants the coordinates of the equation, well, not the coordinates, it was the equation of the normal. So just using a few extra colours so you can see, this is the tangent to the curve at its minimum point. So the normal to the curve has to be perpendicular to that. So there's my normal. So it's not, again, it's only a mark, so that's what it's expecting you to be thinking about. This vertical line here is passing through the minimum point, and on that line, all of the x coordinates are going to equal 2. So the equation of the normal is x equals 2, and that's your answer. And that's your 1 mark just for that part there. A lot of thought had to go into doing that, but drawing it will help you. And that's question 2.